Like, people are asking, like, are you gone? Did you just die?
No, I'm okay. Okay, we're ready to go here?
Yeah.
3, 2... Sorry, let me pause just something here.
3, 2, fuck.
I'm going to have a drink of pop here.
Yeah.
You having a wee man?
Grab your balls and smile.
Oh, blimey, that's refreshing. Hello and welcome to the first 2dcast of 2015 here on irishcomicnews.com and on followingthenerd.com. Hello, boys!
Hello!
Merry New Year to you both.
And to you, sir.
And to you. Welcome to what we're calling the year of How's Your Mum? It's our mission statement where we're going to ask every week how your mum's getting on. Is she well?
Is she well? Is Mother Marcatonia well?
I saw her down the shops. Is she well?
Is she well? Kieran, how's your mum?
My mum's alright. She's recently caught up with the Marvel Universe, and she has now, much like everybody else did, moved her affections for Chris Evans over to the man known as Star-Lord. It was a natural progression. It's very weird that I do watch these movies with my mother, and she turns around every now and again and says, Jesus, he's a handsome man.
He's a grand-looking fellow altogether.
He's a great-looking man. I saw him in a lovely wee suit. He was either at the Golden Globes or being confirmed, one of the two. Yeah. But he was looking well.
I'll tell you a great story about my mother. Over Christmas finally got around to watching Game of Thrones. Like in the space, I watched the entirety of it in about the space of 4 days. And every hour or so, my mum would come into the sitting room and she would go, Jesus, that's terrible. You know, just look like she's got no clothes on, or Jesus, that's terrible. His guts are all over the ground, or just Jesus, that's terrible. But whenever young Rob Stark would come on the screen, she goes, Jesus, that's terrible. He's wild good looking.
It's a strange experience, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was the best one. Was like, so I'd been sitting watching this for 4 days, and I just eventually turned the TV off, went to bed, and I woke up at about 3 in the morning, and I went into the sitting room, and my mum was lying asleep on the couch, but Game of Thrones was playing on the TV, and she doesn't know how to work a hard drive, so she must have struggled with it and figured it out somehow. So she's a bit hot for young Rob Stark there. Good for mum.
Breaking down technological boundaries for crushes on Rob Stark. Well done.
Yeah.
I also brought my mother to see The Hobbit in the cinema over the Christmas.
That's a tradition, Shema.
It is. That was it. Like she insisted. She was like, right, we're going to see it, and I said, fair enough, man. So off we popped down to the cinema in the square in Tella, and we went to see the Hobbit movie. I personally quite enjoyed it. There aren't 5 armies in it, but it's okay.
That always
there are 4 armies.
There are 3.
Isn't
really work it out?
Isn't the implication that Bjorn is supposed to be like on an army of his own?
Yeah, for that 5 seconds that he jumped off a hawk. That makes him an army.
Yeah.
5 seconds he jumped off. That's all he was in that movie.
Bobby, how's your mum?
He was a one-man army corps. He was a OMAC.
Hey,
That's all the DC I know. Sorry.
Speaking of how's your mum, have we told the BAP Sepultura story on the show yet?
It is a good story.
Whose mom's baps are we talking about now?
No. We're talking about there's a great band in Derry called Triggerman. We've actually played them on the show a couple of times before, but they got a gig supporting Sepultura last summer because
Did you mean Sepultura when you said that?
Yeah, well, it depends. I've pronounced it 2 different ways now to appease both of my lords.
I have heard it actually going, hello, we are Sepultura from Brazil. So I'm going to go with the 6'24" Brazilian on this one.
Yes, that's Derek. Now, there's a great publicity shot of Triggerman and Sepultura posing together just before the gig at the Limelight, and the current lead singer, now that Max is gone, Derek, has got like a bemused look on his face, and he's staring at Triggerman, And I asked, why? I asked Rory, the drummer, Triggerman, why is he looking like this? And he said, oh, well, at the exact moment that the photo was taken, Bap, the lead singer of Triggerman, turned around and went, hey, Derek, how's your ma? And that's why he looks like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, how is your ma, Bobby?
She's well. She's well. She got some good news recently.
Oh, right, that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Apart from that, she's great. Yeah.
boys, did you get anything nice for Christmas?
I got a wonderful Absolute Green Lantern.
Oh, you must have been good this year.
Yeah.
This year. I also got a Matt Smith that changes into a Peter Capaldi, and I got vouchers towards my Xbox.
Hooray! Bobby?
Yay! I got. No, I did mention this last year. Remember how I waited all my life to get the largest Transformer ever made, only for them to turn around and make a bigger Transformer?
That you wouldn't sticker, yeah.
Are we talking about Fort Max? Oh no, I don't sticker them. But I did make an exception this time because I got what I can only describe as a 2-foot tall Metroplex. Well, unfortunately, I tend to keep the boxes, but the box had come the whole way from China and it was really badly beat up, and I was going to go, right, I'm just going to throw the packaging away.
Yeah.
So I did sticker Metroplex.
So you realise you now have a Transformer that some Asian somewhere has probably found a way to have sex with.
Yeah, most likely. The hand is big enough.
Isn't it also similarly likely that some Irish person, probably in the Geek Easy, has found a way to have sex with that cell?
Oh, not at the Geek Easy now. Jesus, it's just not the right environment for it.
Yeah, round the back of the Geek Easy against the skip.
That's surprisingly accurate.
Have some
Anyway,
decorum, Flanagan.
Pardon?
Have some decorum, for God's sake.
This is a family podcast.
when?
Is it fuck?
Yeah, it fucking isn't. Okay, go. Actually, one thing I want to institute for the new season, as it were, boys, is that I want to put an embargo on the use of the word cunt. So let's just keep that out of here.
So what?
Why?
We just get one because you just got one because you have to have at least one veto if there's an embargo.
Well, that was the joke.
Okay.
That means we each get one, Bobby. So you get one throughout the whole year. Use it well.
Save
Well,
it.
okay. Have you got anything to plug, Bobby? I'm going to plug my MODOK fan fiction, which is mental organism designed only for cunts.
That's your one, Bobby.
That's your one. Okay, let's get on with some stuff, boys. Oh my God, so much stuff we've missed. So much
There's
stuff.
a lot of stuff. There is a lot of stuff.
Can we start talking about the Tokyo Dome?
Oh God, that is the first time I think I don't follow the Observer, the Wrestling Observer. If anyone who is listening to this is into wrestling, you should actually read it because they not only put up the most recent ones, but they're actually putting like old ones up there as well. I'm halfway through reading the first part of the Montreal Screwjob.
It's amazing.
Which is, oh God, it's so good. This is the first time I think I've actually went, oh my God, that was a 5-star match. And as much as wrestling is, you know, sort of subjective and stuff like that, it's the first time I've gone, oh my God, that was like a 5-star match, only to have that confirmed by the guy who actually rates them.
Was it the Tanahashi match?
I can't remember the guy who was fighting, but it was, what's his name? King of Strong Style, Shinsuke
Nakamura.
Bollocks. Nakamura, yeah.
Yeah, but
The
that was
second
a
to
great
last
match.
one.
It was just like, it was a real slow start to the whole show, and it built and it built and it built, and then they did those great old All Japan style main events where for the first 10 minutes you think, okay, this match is okay, and then for the last 10 minutes it's like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and the Japanese crowd really add to it.
Yeah, they really do. Which feed did you watch? The New Japan feed or did you watch the American feed?
I watched the American feed because I was really interested to see how Matt Stryker and Jim Ross would do because they'd never worked together before.
They did well.
They did really well. I actually have a lot more respect for Stryker than I did before, which I didn't have any respect for him before, so, you know, anything's better than zero.
And am I to take it, Karen, that you did not watch the New Japan Pro Wrestling Tokyo Dome show?
I did not, no.
It's...
I will get you a link. It is fantastic. fantastic.
Really, really
I just want
great.
to see if JR is still, dragging out those old commentary troops.
Not a single one.
Really? Not a government mule in sight?
No.
Not a government mule in motion. No. He may have had a couple fed to him, which was, "Hey, JR, would you say this is a slobber knocker?" And JR went, "Aye, that is aye."
Well, actually, I'll tell you what I found out there just the other day. He was on the Wrestling Observer Radio. He was talking about how, in the WWE, the reason why their commentary's so shite is that Vince McMahon is constantly shouting stuff in their ear that they have to say.
Yep.
Yeah, for the New Japan show, nobody said anything into his headset at all. In fact, they didn't tell him when the show had started, so they had to guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss Joey Styles. Joey Styles will and forever will be my favourite commentator. One man commentating machine. Never needed anybody in his ear. Called a match. And, had his own version of doing catchphrases that for me worked anyway. I'm glad to hear that JR has gotten away from those troops because they were dragging down what was once a legendary commentator.
Really.
And a good sauce maker, from what I'm told.
Yeah, JR's barbecue sauce is really good.
Yeah. I hear it's good on chips.
Great. There's been a trailer or two since we were last on. We were supposed to better start talking about the Ant-Man trailer.
Let's talk about the Ant-Man trailer. I'm looking forward to Ant-Man, but I don't expect it to be Guardians of the Galaxy. Do you know what I mean?
That's a very high bar,
Well,
unfortunately.
that's it, and I think that Marvel have done a very, very, very smart thing in that they've consciously made people think about this movie in everything they've done with it about it being small. Their advertising has made it look like it's okay to be small. The posters have made it look like it's okay to be small. The trailer itself didn't give a whole lot away. It's trying to be a smaller Marvel film.
It's fairly imminent, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's
April, I think. Is it? Is it May?
no, April
Something
is
like that?
Avengers, man.
Oh God, sorry. I do apologize.
Freaking Avengers. Yeah, no, Ant-Man comes out
Avengers.
after Avengers.
I haven't seen the Avengers trailer. Does somebody want to tell me about that?
Well, it was pretty bloody good. There's a very strong indication towards Wakanda in it. We may have actually seen the Black Panther's sister in the trailer. So I'm going to call it now. I think Ultron wants him a vibranium body. Andy Serkis is clearly revealed as Black Panther villain Claw. So while they've built on the fact that they have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver and Ultron, and we've even had hints towards Vision, but we haven't actually seen him fully formed in either of the trailers. This trailer for me just had a whack of Black Panther off of it, like hints towards Black Panther.
A whack of Black Panther.
60% of the time he works 100% of the time.
Isn't there Black Panther's one of their proposed TV series, isn't it?
No, Black Panther's been confirmed as a movie, has it not?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Phase 3.
The only TV series that they have confirmed is AKA What's Her Features.
No. They've confirmed all of their TV series, man.
No, I mean, but they've only done 4, basically, and that's going to be leading up to Defenders.
Defenders.
Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, then to cross over. The rumor has it Iron Fist is going to be included in the Luke Cage one, so we can basically call that Heroes for Hire. And it's going to build up to Defenders.
I don't think we've talked about the most recent Star Wars trailer.
Oh, well, it's a Star Wars trailer.
Yeah.
That has all of the new characters in it, none of the old characters in it, but all of the feel of an old Star Wars movie. None of your prequel shit here. We have X-Wings, we have, let's see. Well, let's talk about the one thing that everybody seemed to give out about that I have no problem with. The lightsaber.
Oh, who cares? It's a sword. I thought it looked good.
Yeah, and it would be functional. There was a lot of hoofa over whether it would actually work, if it'd be a functional blade, or would you cut your own hand off. No, trust me, you're not supposed to touch the crossguard if you're actually using the crossguard. It's one of the keys of it.
I think it looked really cool.
I did too.
Which I presume was the point of it.
Yeah, and I like that trailer gave us excitement while telling us absolutely nothing. bar that something has changed in the Force. That's it. Something has awakened.
Yes, perhaps the barely defined notion of balance in the Force has been changed for dramatic purposes.
Yes.
Well, that should be good.
But but just to point out of the 2 trailers we just talked about, Andy Serkis was in both of them.
We've talked about 3 trailers.
Which was the other one?
Ant-Man?
Oh yes, Ant-Man. Well, out of Avengers and Star Wars, Andy Serkis at least shows up in the trailer for both of them. He does the voiceover for the Star Wars trailer, and as I mentioned, he's anybody who knows Marvel and who knows Black Panther saw Andy Serkis, saw the little thing around his neck, and went, right, so he's Claw from Black Panther. That's it. So I have a feeling they're going to Wakanda, boys.
Just on a tangential Andy Serkis link, I was watching a documentary today, and Peter Serafinovich was on it, who was, of course, the voice of Darth Maul. Whatever happened to Ray Park?
Ray Park. Well, my last encounter with Ray Park, you were actually there, Flanagan.
Well, I was.
Yeah, you were. It was a London Film and Comic Con 2 years back. Ray Park was there as a guest. We had all queued up to meet him, and he'd fucked off to watch the tennis and didn't come back.
Well, that's hardly an encounter with Ray Park, is it?
Yeah, it's a lack of an encounter with Ray Park. After people have paid good fucking money, Ray Park, fuck you and your tennis.
Well, there you have it. Ray Park, the former Darth Maul, at the tennis. Good. Yeah. Great.
He was in G.I. Joe. He was in Heroes.
He's in loads of movies where he just doesn't show his face, man. It's not. Yeah. He's that guy.
Okay. Good for him. Let's see.
Holy shit.
What?
Announced, this is according to IMDb, just on a Ray Park tip, the King of Iron Fist tournament, playing a character called Yoshimitsu. So there's a Tekken movie coming out.
Another Tekken movie. There's been a Tekken movie.
That didn't count.
Yeah, we all enjoyed that.
Listen, I'll watch any video game movie adaptation starring Kariyuki Tagawa. It's just gonna happen.
But yeah, only those 3 combinations. Any video game, movie with that guy. Nothing else.
Yeah. And the web series, the recent Mortal Kombat web series where he reprised his role as Shang Tsung.
That was actually quite good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Let's see, I have here the Dredd Mega Collection. This is probably just shameless pimping, but the first issue of the Judge Dredd Mega Collection from Hatchet Parkworks is out on the 21st of this month, and you can get America, the Judge Dredd story, a nice hardback edition of that, in your local newsagents for £2, which is a bargain not to be passed up. And if you're a complete sucker like I am, you'll already have subscribed, so you can get the free gifts to come with the 2 volumes.
And somewhere, Michael Mulcher smile.
I ain't doing it.
I've done it.
Oh, you could do worse. You could be doing that Millennium Falcon model kit. That's
£900.
£900 to build the whole Millennium Falcon. Isn't that great?
Oh god! I have here written in my notes the word dice, and yes, the dice thing.
Are you talking about SlinyCon?
Yes, SlinyCon.
It's SlinyCon 2.0, otherwise known as the Cork Comic Expo, put on by the guys from DICE. It's on down in Cork on April 25th. It's already shaping up to be a decent event. It's opening up at small press tables shortly, from what I hear. So, anybody interested in getting a table at the show?
And who should they contact?
Well, it will all be through the Facebook page, and it will probably be the guys from the Big Bang that are organising it, because they're organising the entire event. So I would say stay tuned to their pages, either the Big Bang or indeed Will Sliney's Facebook and Twitter, for updates as to how to either book a table or get tickets in the next little while.
And I'm sure we'll have some information on about that over the next month or 2.
Indeed.
I was actually speaking about Last Dice.
Last Dice.
That thing.
Oh yes, Dice baby.
Oh yes! Congratulations to Miss Kim Brosnan and her wonderful husband and their wonderful child on yet another addition to their family. So they're having another baby. God bless them. And working backwards in the timeline, well, DICE is responsible for this child. and the child is due to be born on the day of Arcade Con. It is the child of the Irish convention scene, and this wonderful child will have absorbed all of the powers of Geordie Belair, Declan Shalvey, everybody else that Kim has been in close proximity with. Hopefully it'll get the, by proxy and osmosis, the good looks and greying hairs of Stephen Mooney.
Yeah, it's going to come out wearing cosplay.
Michael, what if it's like a pair of children, and in the twin stylee, one child is this creative and artistic genius, like with the amazing abilities to draw perfectly, to write great dialogue, and the other child is born with none, like Todd McFarlane or Rob Liefeld.
Oh, careful now! Careful now! It's Todd McFarlane.
I meant Rob Liefeld, actually. Sorry, but it's the same basic package.
Yeah. Congratulations, Kim and family. We all wish you the very, very best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations.
I'm gonna, also pimp. Hey Wayne Talbot. Guess what age you are? You're 37 today. 37.
How old are you?
31.
Yeah, as somebody who will be turning 36 in a couple of months, fuck you.
I was making a Clerks joke, you dick.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flanagan, who is older than me, is saying nothing.
Bro, listen, I am in the winter of my 30s and of my discontent, but fuck y'all. Is all as I'm saying. Let's go to some questions here from our wonderful listeners. Ooh, good selection of questions this way. Let's go. Anthony Behan says, "What are our thoughts on the upcoming Marvel Star Wars line, and what are our favorite Dark Horse Star Wars books?" Well, I'll start with the last question first. My favorite Dark Horse Star Wars books, either Dark Empire, with art by the mighty Cam Kennedy, or I can't remember the creative team behind it, but it was the What If series, Star Wars Infinities, I think it was called. I thought that was
a great series.
That was really excellent. Really excellent.
Essentially, Vader lived and turned to the light side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good series.
What was the name of? I can't remember which title it was, but the Jay and Silent Bob showed up in it as Jedis. That was a good one as well.
Would that be Knights of the Old Republic?
Yes, thank you, Bobby.
Right, because that's the only one of the Dark Horse Star Wars comics that I've read, so that would be my favourite one.
Oh, Bobby.
Well, it's not like I'm never going to catch up on reading them.
It's
not like they're making any more.
Yeah, they're not making any more, and they're no longer in print. That's it. Like, I went around furiously last year collecting Star Wars graphic novels from Dark Horse. My favourite series would be Legacy. The story of Cade Skywalker, set 127 years after Return of the Jedi, and also it keeps in canon with a lot of the novels that were released, mainly Kevin J. Anderson's novels. It also keeps in continuity with the Timothy Zahn novels, and it incorporates the Yuzon Vong War as having happened. So the reason I like Legacy is because it tried to do its best to pay respects to every single continuity that was out there, be it the movies, be it the novels, be it the video games, and kind of take it to a natural point so far in its future that it could just consider everything that had happened as history, and also introduce a new Skywalker, Cade Skywalker.
And ironically, none of it happened. So there you go.
Yeah, well, none of any of it happened now. Disney are like, nope.
Right, you know what? I'm on this one here because I want to go back and talk about the old Marvel series, the old Marvel comic series, which was really fucking good. Like when you were a kid,
With the Space Bunny.
Yeah, Jackson.
Yeah.
No, well, not just that. Like the stuff that they were putting out, like between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, where they had no clue what was going on, and yet they still had to do comics for 3 years, was really, really creative. And I got an old Empire Strikes Back annual, which has got a story about Lando Calrissian and Chewbacca hanging out in this bar trying to figure out where Han Solo is.
No, I've got that annual too.
Yes. Yeah, there was some great stuff there, and stuff like Planet of the Hoojibs. I've got a comic adaptation of that that's got a record with it that has the story on it as well. It's really good. Yeah.
Those comics were very quick to cop on that Boba Fett was a much more interesting character than the movies had led us to believe.
Yeah.
Like Boba Fett had a real side role in those comics, and again, that was George Lucas going in the ear of the editors of Marvel going, no, seriously, that guy's important. But they developed Boba Fett in was it the Droids cartoon he first showed up in?
No, he showed up in the Star Wars Holiday Special first, in the cartoon and that.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, but that was the precursor to Droids.
Droids, yeah. Which is actually, come to think of it, I think apparently I know a lot more about Star Wars comics than I previously thought, because I've got a couple of issues of the Droids comic as well.
That was pretty good. In relation to the new books, though, let's have a look at them. I'm really looking forward to Kieran Gillen writing Darth Vader. Darth Vader's getting his own series with Salvador LaRocca on art. Yeah, okay, but the main Star Wars book itself. Who's actually writing the main Star Wars book?
I have no idea, but if at some point Jason Aaron is not on art on, or do I mean Jason Lee?
Well, Jason Aaron's a great artist as well.
But if at some point he hasn't drawn a Star Wars comic, a trick has been missed.
Okay, let's just check this out. We have the internet, so let's just check it. I haven't. I've already put the book on my order because it's Star Wars. I'm gonna get it.
John Cassaday. Star Wars 1 will be written by Jason Aaron with artwork by John Cassaday. And I just had something sort of confirmed. Marvel will actually, which I think is fucking weird, but Marvel are going to be putting out the Dark Horse trades under Legends.
Really?
Well, that can only work out well for Dark Horse.
Yeah, but I mean, did they get them lock, stock, and barrel? I mean,
no, they got them lock, stock, and barrel. That means Dark Horse will get nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, surely Dark Horse must have perceived something in terms of.
There has to be some kind of royalty payment for the creators at the very least.
Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting situation. I don't know. I hadn't heard that, Bobby, so I can't. I'm going in cold on that one. I had heard the complete opposite. They were essentially mothballing everything they'd ever done, and starting afresh.
Yeah.
Did hear that they're doing essentially a newly colorized version of the original run of Star Wars comics.
Well, yeah.
Coloring and inking and line work. So.
Hang on, well, if thinking back, didn't Dark Horse release trades of the Marvel Star Wars comics?
They did.
So, this plot thickens. Let us research that.
I don't want to talk about it really until I've had a chance to research it, but what I will talk about is, let's just talk about the fact that this Star Wars book, is, according to all pre-sales, going to be the first book of the 21st century to sell over 1 million copies.
No, it's not. And this is something we haven't talked about, but it's the Loot Crate thing.
Great thing. Well, right. Pre-sales are what they are, man. Pre-orders are what they are.
Yeah, but like
they're shipping more than 1 million of this.
Yeah,
book.
but like 400,000 of those pre-orders are for Loot Crates.
Doesn't matter. It's still a guaranteed sale.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, you can have it, if you want it, but I wouldn't. I would put a major asterisk beside that. It's like saying, that Batman issue 36 sold like 700,000 copies when really like 400,000 of those were just stuck in loot crates.
Yeah, it's like saying
it's giving one away. Tell Kieran because Kieran wants one.
Yep, you got one.
Yeah, so it's basically like saying Happy Meal toy's the best-selling toy of the year.
And if anybody's got any Groot socks that they want to give away,
yeah, you can have it. Yeah, you can. Yes! You can have it.
Yeah. From my cold dead hands.
Bobby, I will proper Flash Gordon versus Prince Baron on the goddamn spiky spinning thing fight you for those socks.
Okay, I have a hole you can stick your hand up, but you ain't getting the socks.
Next question from the ever-present Andrew McCarroll. Happy New Year, Andrew. What are we looking forward to in 2015?
Avengers 2?
There's 2.
Actually, Star Wars? Oh god, I'm so conflicted, I don't know. No, Avengers 2.
I'm looking forward to Chappie as well. Chappie looks like it's going to be a good movie. I'm looking forward to Foxcatcher.
I've seen that.
I have read.
I've seen it.
the fact that it's like it's based in a true story, but like you can stick a massive beside based. Apparently, it's a lot of it is completely different from what actually happened in real life, which shouldn't take away from the fact that it's a good movie, but it's sort
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story, Bobby.
yeah. But
boys, what did you make? What did you make of Birdman?
I loved it.
I haven't seen it yet.
I loved it.
Really great, really great. And actually,
save it till you have seen it, Bobby, because we'll have a good chat about that one. It's got some. It's a hell of a movie for social commentary on the whole idea of comic book films.
Yeah. And also an acting masterclass from young Keaton.
And a masterclass in cinematography and the way it was shot. It's deserving of the awards it's going to get. But ironically, and it was Wayne Talbot that pointed this out to me. The whole point of that movie is that it shouldn't win awards.
Oh, irony can be so ironic sometimes.
I know. Other films in 2000. Kingsman. I'm looking forward to Kingsman. I think that is going to be a comic book movie that nobody is going to see coming, and it's going to be brilliant. The cast alone, I mean, we've got Samuel L. Jackson, Colin Firth, which I'll forgive, Mark Hamill, Michael Caine, and apparently the kid in Kingsman is up for the role of young Cyclops in X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, very good.
I'm not looking forward to anything in 2015. Not because there's nothing to look forward to, but
aren't you getting married in 2015?
Well,
here comes the groom, face drenched in gloom.
Kayfabe, boys, kayfabe.
Okay.
Isn't that the last two podcasts we've gotten with that?
Yes. Oh, my wife's gonna kill me. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm not going to look forward to anything in 2015, in as much as I would like to take things as they come and not build them up.
Cool. I look forward to Toho's reboot of Godzilla.
Yeah, I just read about that the other day. That should be interesting.
Yeah, Toho were like, oh, the Americans did a Godzilla that made money. We should do another Godzilla that also makes money.
Andrew McCarroll also asks, what are the best wrestling DVDs that we can recommend?
Always the Paul Heyman DVD.
Oh, yes.
I would supplement the Paul Heyman DVD with both the Rise and Fall of ECW, the WWF's version of that, and also Hardcore History, which is the other side of the story from the people who weren't in the WWF at the time.
Seen that?
It's good. It's good.
I would say CM Punk, because I'm still a massive mark for that guy. And this is one that I haven't seen, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. The Wrestling Road Diaries series.
Oh, with
young Colton Cabana.
Scotty Goldman. Yeah, that's real good. Can I?
Recommendation that I took from Flanagan and watched. It's not a DVD, but if you want an hour of absolutely pissing yourself laughing watching something wrestling related, go watch Celebrity Wife Swap for the Ric Flair and Rowdy Piper wife swap episode. Gold.
It's absolutely gold. Absolutely amazing.
Sorry, isn't wife swap something that Ric Flair does like every other
yeah, definitely. Can I also recommend Heroes of World Class, which is the non-WWF World Class Championship Wrestling documentary? That's really excellent, if just completely depressing, soul-destroyingly depressing. Actually, there's a lot of great DVDs out there.
There's the Ultimate Warrior one. There's the
Randy Savage.
Oh, hey, we never talked Savage for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Which he would have fucking hated.
He would have despised it.
For three reasons. One, he didn't want to go into the Hall of Fame. Two, he hated the Hall of Fame. And three, he's being inducted into the Hall of Fame by a man that he hated.
Who's inducting him?
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Oh, piss off. Why isn't his brother?
Well, it could have been worse. Could have been Lex Luger.
I presume that.
Oh, that is there's the line.
I presume that Hogan is doing the induction and Lanny Poffo will do the speech whilst staring at a tree, looking sad.
Is it really what Macho Man deserves?
I think he deserves to not be dead.
Yeah.
Also, final one from Andrew McCarroll. Oh yeah, this is I can see what's going here. Andrew McCarroll trying to stir the shit here in the 2dcast. Which do we prefer, Grayson or Spidey 2099?
Well, now that's just making us pick between fake Spider-Man and fake Nightwing, isn't it? And we all know who looks after fake Spider-Man and fake Nightwing.
Yeah, I'd go with Spider-Man because Peter David, I like his writing better.
I will go with Jesus. I'm torn.
Yeah, I'm going with Spider-Man.
I like Spider-Man, but god damn it, Mooney draws a really good Dick Grayson arse.
Yeah, well, it's not a Dick Grayson arse anymore. It's just a Mooney arse.
Yeah,
isn't it? But that Stephen Mooney draws his arse so good.
He does. We'll say this: if you haven't read it, the Grayson Annual, which Mooney just did, which is actually the story is entirely based in Dublin and Ireland, and it's a really, really good story. Check it out. There's some wonderful references to locations around the country. History from Ireland. And as for Will Sliney's Spider-Man, well, fair play to him. I also believe he's jumping on in the final issue of X Factor.
Yeah,
it's all written by Peter David,
which is great because I love the new X Factor series, but the art gives me a headache sometimes.
I would second that. No, yeah, I'd absolutely agree with that. I recently read through 7 issues in a row.
Yeah.
I realised that the reason I'd been putting it off was the artwork, because the story is brilliant. The story is really, really good. But do you know what I'm really digging in that story?
Is it Cypher and Danger?
Do you mean Warlock and Danger?
Yes.
Yes, it's Warlock and Danger.
Yeah, that's a love triangle I never saw coming.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it?
For some strange reason, the art, I've no idea why, but it seems to make me think of like a French indie comic or something. Or,
yeah, I know what you mean.
I can't exactly work out why.
I like it because it's a good series. Gambit's Gambit, Quicksilver's a dick. X Factor can't hold a press conference without something going very, very, very wrong. It's hitting all the right beats,
Yes. Jamie Core wants to know what our picks from the titles announced at the Image Expo are. I have no knowledge of this.
I have absolutely no idea.
There is a really good list, so let me just pull them up.
Bring it up there. Sorry, I'm sort of the reason why I'm so unprepared here is I'm trying to disconnect myself from the internet at the minute, Jamie. So sorry about that.
That's quite all right, Mr.
I'm just gonna say whatever the hell you call that one that Warren, Declan, and Jordy are doing.
Of course, Injection. Injection is the one.
Isn't Witch's Image?
Witch's his Image, yes.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying that. Thanks for the recommendation, boys.
Yeah,
that is
Copperhead is actually quite good as well. Sorry for bouncing all over you there, but Copperhead I'm really enjoying.
Well, let's just see now. We have from Brian K. Vaughan a new title by let's see. Okay, it's called Paper Girls.
Right.
That is brought from Brian K. Vaughan. And to do with artist Steve Scroach. I'm sorry, I got that absolutely wrong.
No, that couldn't. That could not have gone better.
No, it's the wrong artist. It's the wrong artist. It's Cliff.
That gentleman coaches scrutums. He is a Scrooge.
36 years old.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Paper Girls. I'm interested to see what Scotty Young is going to do. Scotty Young's doing his first Image book. It's called I Hate Fairyland.
Oh, that looks brilliant.
Yeah, that does look brilliant. And I'm just interested to see what Scotty Young does when he's not employed by Marvel and not working on a licensed character, because most of the stuff he does is great for being Scotty Young, interpreting those characters in that way, but I'm interested to see what he does with his own book and his own.
Given the opportunity to let his freak flag fly, that could be something really special.
Yeah, it really, really could. Let's see now, there are several other books. Sorry, I didn't get to read the questions today, so I would have.
I tell you what, we will, Jamie Core, we will come back to this question next week with a proper answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Warren Villa, hi Warren, wants to know what our thoughts on the death of Deadpool are. I had not heard this. I think it sounds like a terrible idea. Unless it's a joke, in which case I think it's a great idea.
No, I think it's another victim of the Marvel aren't going to support cinematic characters that they don't own.
Well, I think we've said everything that needs to be said about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rumor has it Deadpool's going to die. Further rumor has it that Deadpool is actually going to end up into the land of the dead, and it's going to be a team-up series with him and Wolverine fighting their way back to life.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that does sound pretty cool.
Warren Villa also wants to know what are our favourite biscuits with tea. I like a rich oat cake or in a pusher digestive.
A chocolate or a plain digestive?
Plain, always plain. Buttered.
Crazy.
I will qualify my previous comment on the page. I would take a chocolate hobnob.
Oh. I am of the chocolate digestive persuasion.
Nazim Cooley.
Perhaps on a cheeky day, a bourbon cream.
Ooh, fancy.
Nazim Cooley wants to know if a Back to the Future movie was announced for this October, would our initial reaction be elation or dread? I am going to have to answer in the latter. Yeah, dread. I think it would be terrible.
Just looking at the 2dcast page, I can say for definite that both myself and Kieran Martin are going to hell.
Yeah. Oh, Bobby, we could not let that joke sit. We could. It had to be done. It had to be done.
Yeah.
What was it we said? Go on.
I'd say any Michael J. Fox performance would be shaky at best. To which I replied, "It's your health, Marty. Something's got to be done about your health."
So yeah, we think it's wrong for them to do a Back to the Future sequel at this point.
And yet you think it's right to lambaste Michael J. Fox in that fashion. How's your granddad, Bobby?
Oh, he's very much dead.
Oh, good. Paul Kilroy Glynn wants to know, oh, this is a good one. What DC or Marvel character would you like to see added to the schedule? I presume it means the movie schedule.
Yes.
And where would you put it?
Oh, okay. Marvel-wise, shall we go Marvel? We'll do both sides of the house. Let's do Marvel first.
Okay, go ahead.
Character that I would like to see. So many. Shit. Well, we're getting Doctor Strange. We're getting the Inhumans.
Well, I presume it's one that we're not getting already. So
yeah. No, I'm just trying to go through the ones that we're not getting. I was surprised we're getting a Captain Marvel, or I would have said Captain Marvel. Who's not represented at the moment? Who's doing really, really good but isn't represented yet?
I think they are absolutely missing a trick and a wave of positive publicity if they don't do a Ms. Marvel movie that's aimed for early teenage kids.
As in, we are getting a Captain Marvel movie.
No, I'm talking about the
character, the new one.
The new Ms. Marvel character, Kamala Khan.
Okay, let's talk about one. All right, I'm gonna say this is my pick, but only because it's been done in movies before, but it hasn't been done by Marvel. Punisher.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Punisher needs, and from what the Russo brothers were saying, Punisher might have already been in the Marvel universe, and we just didn't realize it yet.
Oh God! And welcome to Called It with Kieran Mark Antonio.
No. This isn't any Called It or anything. You can go this up. This is the directors of the Winter Soldier, kind of speculated that whoever was driving that van that absolutely destroyed Sitwell, may have just been the Punisher.
Okay, cool.
They are interested in the character. The Russos are interested in the character, and from what I understand, they have been lobbying to get a couple of characters into the Marvel universe. But yeah, that would be my pick at the moment. I'd like to see the Punisher done in the Marvel universe.
Bobby?
Well, if the surname is Russo, I can almost guarantee it's going to be a massive swerve.
Bro, you have got to get the Punisher out there.
Oh God. I'm going to say DC. I would say be weird to do it without the rest of the Titans, but I would really like to see Beast Boy.
I think a Titans movie will work.
Yeah, but I think Beast Boy, if they did it right, and not necessarily for like a teenage audience, but just did a really fun.
Yeah.
Which DC are never going to do, the po-faced bastards, but they're. If they just did like a fun action hero or superhero movie, Beast Boy could work very well.
Boys, I have a treatment for a Justice League International live-action TV series in the style, with the tone of Buffy the Vampire Slayer that I've had in my head for about 15 years now.
Well, you may just get your wish, because have you not heard that they're trying to make it at the moment? With rumours being that Booster Gold and Blue Beetle will be played, respectively, by James Franco and Seth Rogen.
No, what I want is
no. This is very real.
What I want. Okay. Do you remember when Lois and Clark and the Adventures of Superman started?
Of course I do. It's one of the greatest television series of all time.
Do you remember the tone of the first two series of that? The light banter, the chummy comedy?
Yes, I do.
That.
Ashiar.
That. Right?
Right.
But with story arcs and ongoing storylines and like a really good lineup. Not with Seth Rogen and not with James Franco. I don't want to talk about this any further because my day has been ruined. And the last question is... No, that's it. That's the question.
No, there is a Worf question there.
Oh, yes. I don't have that one written down for some reason.
No,
if Worf was never raised by humans, what state would the Federation be in? The exact same state that it is now. None of it ever happened. It's the new Star Trek movies. Question answered.
Mirror universe. Mirror universe. Worf was like the leader of the Klingon Empire.
Yeah, but only.
Who was he raised by?
I don't know.
It certainly wasn't Paulie from Goodfellas, if I'm any man.
He definitely wasn't raised by the Big Daddy Capulet from that really good Romeo and Juliet movie.
Yeah, the actor Paul Sorvino there.
Yes, that's one guy. In
his many roles, his two roles.
And just to answer Jason Brown, a letter from our attorneys is pending.
Yes.
What?
All right, Bobby. Jason Brown asks, are we getting a new 2D this year?
No.
To which I replied,
no.
We'll have to ask our attorneys.
Well, no.
Kill the mic!
No. Okay, let's move from that to a new feature.
Spiderman and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
Okay, this is a pilot of sorts for something we're going to do on a semi-regular basis. Now, this is Sacred Cows, in which we, three jaded men in our early to late 30s, re-examine classic comic and sci-fi series, comics, whatever from the past, and decide whether or not they are worthy of the lofty reputation that they have. So,
this is something we might be able to review the 2D listeners in.
That's from this point on, we want to invite you, the listener, to be part of the show. So from now on, we're going to have a vote to choose the next thing that we're going to be looking at. We want you to give your, we want you to watch along with us, read along with us, send your thoughts, send your comments. So we'll treat this as a pilot, and hopefully over the next couple of months, you all can get involved in this. So we've decided to start with a classic for anybody who grew up in the 1980s, which was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Classic?
Well, that's
I could almost hear the bunny ears he was putting on that, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, let's give a bit of background here. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was a companion series to Spider-Man and presumably not His Amazing Friends, which was made between 1981 and 1983. It was shown on NBC in the United States. It was shown extensively here on both BBC and RTE. And in fact, it always, it's probably nostalgia playing tricks on me, but it seemed to be constantly on during the 1980s. I mean,
well, it had to have been. And here's a simple fact: it was originally released in 1983, and I didn't see it till I was 6 or 7. So that's coming up to 1990.
Yeah. Now, there were only, despite the fact that it seemed to be sort of omnipresent, there only were 24 episodes of it ever made over 3 series, which is really weird. It was a lot of the time paired up with the Incredible Hulk cartoon that was out at the same time. We'll speak on that later on. Very, very, very popular. A big money spinner for Marvel and for Sunbow, who produced it. Later went on to produce the Transformers cartoon. Now, a few things. Spider-Man's amazing friends, for the uninitiated, were Iceman from the original lineup of the X-Men, and Firestar, who was
originally was created for the show.
Was created specifically for the show. Now, the idea that she was created for the show was, the rumor had it that it was supposed to be the Human Torch here, and in fact that's been largely substantiated, but the Human Torch couldn't be used. Now, a rumor has persisted over the years that the Human Torch couldn't be used because Marvel were scared that people might try and set themselves on fire, which is bollocks, because they immediately put in another character with the exact same powers here. The real reason was that Marvel had licensed Johnny Storm out for a Human Torch movie, and they hadn't got the rights. In 1978, they licensed Johnny Storm out, and then they couldn't use the character for a lot of years afterwards. Marvel there learning absolutely fucking nothing in the intervening 30 years.
Yeah. And you know what? As a consequence of that, do you know who we had in a Fantastic Four cartoon?
Herbie.
Herbie!
Fucking robot.
Herbie!
Yeah. So they created this new character, Firestar, which was just created from whole cloth. It was a comely young ginger lass, who, what were we going to say there, Kieran?
That she's now actually a member of the X-Men for the first time in 30 odd years.
Yeah, and weirdly, she actually is very, very reminiscent of Mary Jane Watson.
It's like Mary Jane Watson, Jean Grey. She was one of the true redheads of Marvel at the time. It was like, what are we going to do? Stan Lee's like, we need a new female character. Let's make her a hot redhead. Literally.
Stan Lee laughing all the way to the bank. The money bank. So the episode we've chosen, well, we've chosen 2 episodes. I don't know if we're going to get through 2 because it's running longer than I expected as usual, but we'll take a look at A Firestar is Born, which was from the 1982 season, and it tells the origin of Firestar. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to run play by here, and the boys are going to give color commentary.
So beat Joey Styles.
Yeah. So I've got like 5 pages of notes here for a 25-minute long cartoon. Right.
God.
Yeah, I know. Right.
How many papers did you not grade while you were writing those 5?
You don't know the half of it. We've got Ofsted coming in next week. Right. First thing I will say about Spider-Man and his Phase and Friends is that the theme music is the funkiest thing ever since the time Funky McFunkerton took a trip to Funky Town. If you couldn't tell that this show was made at the tail end of the 70s and the early part of the 80s, the music would set it off straight away. Just an absolutely awesome introduction. I'm sure anybody who ever saw that cartoon is hearing the theme music in their head right now.
Yeah.
It opens up with an introduction by Stan Lee, that money-grubbing glory hog bastard.
Yes.
Offering his opening narration. He's like, people are always asking me, what's the story with Firestar? Well, you're going to find out in this episode. That's if the Juggernaut doesn't get her first. Who's the Juggernaut?
Massive spoilers.
So, opens with Firestar is sitting reading a book in her room, and all of a sudden it starts snowing. Oh my god, is it a strange weather phenomenon? No, it's just Iceman acting the prick. Iceman here, the very picture of the Aryan ideal. Never has a man been blonder or bluer of eyes. Just unbelievable Nazi caricature, voiced as seemingly every third person or every third character in the 1970s and 80s cartoons was voiced by Frank Welker. This
My man.
Yeah, great. I mean, if it wasn't Frank Welker, it was likely to be Peter Cullen, or what's the name of the guy that did Starscream?
Oh,
Chris Latta.
yes.
So Iceman is like, hey, have you forgotten what day it is? And Firestar's like, that's right, we'll have to hurry, which is the signal for them to, for some reason, I don't know why, activate their secret hideout. Now, Spider-Man and Iceman and Firestar in this series live together, right?
Yeah.
Along with Spider-Man's auntie and a
I
dog.
smell a shitcom.
And a dog, right? But if they lift the football trophy that sits on the mantelpiece, the sitting room turns into their secret hideout full of
science lab.
Yeah, science lab.
Science crime lab.
Yeah, you know, with like, you know, the very epitome of 1970s, 80s technology, like a computer that's got two reels of tape running one to the other, and like
real good scientific crime solving stuff. You know?
Like punch cards and like a giant screen. You know, like if they turned it on, it would say something on the screen like accessing internet.
And yet,
Internet ready.
When I think back on this cartoon, I still think that their stuff was way cooler than the Fantastic Four's gear.
Yeah, absolutely. It was super cool because it could turn from being your house into a crime lab in one, and that's amazing.
Yeah. It was the kind of...
well, if you're going to put amazing right there in the title, it better be amazing.
Yeah,
so,
it was the...
Well,
Sorry, it was the kind of like really small thing that you really obsessed over when you were playing with your toys. You wanted to build that. It was that thing from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and that big base that comes out of the, like, you know, big ass drowned volcano from Defenders of the Earth.
Yeah,
There's a Defender.
Defenders.
Similarly, Firestar and Iceman activate their superpowers, which consists of Firestar putting her arms out, and Iceman like putting himself on a block of ice and then smashing out of the block of ice.
I always thought they missed a beat by having him ice up and her blast him out of it.
Yeah, well, I always thought they missed a beat by whenever he breaks out of the ice, just having people get fucking hit by pieces of ice all over the place, or like
in the video game.
Yeah, or like Aunt May, not going, where the fuck's all this ice coming from?
Well,
I know
the ice melts when Firestar just goes.
Yeah. Also,
wet carpets everywhere all the time, but nobody knows.
Also, there was like a secret exit out of their hideout, and it was like it's probably the biggest waste of technology ever, because like with the lab transforms and like bookshelves turn around and stuff, and the coffee table moves like a foot to the left so that they could go down a hole to come out through a bird bath in the garden. Surely a window would be a much more efficient way of getting out of that.
Window, if she can fly, Spider-Man can web shoot, and Bobby rocks an ice slide out that window. It's just as easy, really, when you think about it.
Yeah. So they transform. Let's go, and off they go.
I'm worried that literally we've been doing this for nearly 5-10 minutes now, and we're only at the end of the credits.
I know, right? Meanwhile, downtown, Spidey is just hanging out and catching crooks, and this is a really great version of Spider-Man. You know, he's got the banter down, and he's having a great time being Spider-Man, and he's having patter with police, you know, like Andrew Garfield isn't. Iceman and Firestar come along and say, hey, Spider-Man, what's going on? They're going, we're going to our X-Men reunion now. And he says, can I come? And they're like, no, you can't.
No dogs,
Are you
no
a mutant?
blacks,
No.
Spider-Man.
Are you telling me that mutants are actually kind of forcing someone out of their circle because they're not like them?
Oh, irony. But they say, it's X-Men only. And he's like,
That's right. You both used to be members of the X-Men. Say, do you think I could come?
Sorry, Spidey. This is for X-Men only.
Yeah, maybe next time, buddy. Have fun. I'll just hang around on this really exciting old tower.
Oh, well, have fun. I'll just, and this is a quote, by the way, as, have fun. I'll just hang out here on this really old tower. immediately after he says that, about 3 seconds after they've flown off, all of a sudden the Juggernaut appears, smashing the tower that Spider-Man's on for no particular reason whatsoever. He just happens to be on top of a roof, smashing the tower that Spider-Man's on. Now, 2 things here, right? 1, Juggernaut appears to be wearing the very shortest short shorts that you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's just this, like, something looks wrong with Juggernaut, and it's like, I can see his balls, and they look weird. And the other thing is that the Juggernaut, while in the comics, you know, he's known for being a tough guy and talking, talking big. In Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the Juggernaut is exceptionally loquacious. You know, he's a master of exposition, and he utters the immortal line, and I quote here, "I'm after the X-Men."
I'm after the X-Men, and nothing will stand in my way.
A quick point of order.
Yes?
The X-Men are in Westchester, which is upstate New York. Now, he says, I'm going to fuck up my brother.
Yes.
But I'm going to start here in New York, which, to the best of my knowledge, 200 or 300 miles away.
Yeah, and also he's on a roof.
Yeah. And he can... And the
Unstoppable Juggernaut. Unstoppable Juggernaut.
And the ruby, the red ruby, the red ruby of Sidorak is white.
Yeah, what's up with that, Bobby?
And he can burn through concrete.
Yeah. Well,
What?
What I noticed here was that he rips a wall apart, but it's like a particularly crap wall, because rather than, you know, the building falling down, it just reveals that the wall was just up against another wall, like a particularly shit form of wallpaper. The Juggernaut is given loads and loads of really, 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 really British exposition. He's speaking in a really deep British voice. Doesn't explain why he wants to destroy the X-Men.
Years before they ever decided to make Xavier British in the X-Men movies, I should say.
Yeah. So the Spidey fights him in a building site. He figures out that he can't stop the Juggernaut, despite the fact that the Juggernaut has been telling him all throughout this fight, you cannot be stopped. Spidey comes to this startling conclusion. I'd better tell the X-Men.
Find a way to get sent to the party. I bet you Spider-Man paid the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
That's what he said. I'd better warn the X-Men.
Oh, hey guys, is this
Let me
where
just
you
let
live?
sling for 200 or 300 miles up to Westchester.
So, meanwhile in Westchester, the X-Men are having a party. It's a reunion party, and they, like all mutant outcasts who are hated and feared by a society that hates them, they're having a buffet-style reunion lunch with, like, sandwiches and a bowl of punch. Wolverine making his Marvel animated debut as, for some reason,
Heavily Australian.
They're heavily Australian before the idea that Hugh Jackman was even...
I'm beginning to think that between that and the Juggernaut's English accent, they were very innovative in their thinking of casting in this show.
Yeah, eerily prescient. They're introducing... I think this is the cartoon debut as well of Chris Claremont's all-new, all-different X-Men, or at least a part of them. A Storm actually looking really impressive.
Hold on a wee. Now, I can ignore a lot of things in the X-Men, but it's one thing seeing it in the comic and sort of, you know, kind of flicking through pages, but see her sort of moving about, you do realise that yes, this is a black woman wearing thigh-high boots and a pair of white knickers.
And actually, all right, stupid costume aside, actually, throughout this I thought it's been really impressively animated for something that was made in the early 80s. It looks really, really good, and I never, compared to stuff that was there at the time, stuff like Filmation's Masters of the Universe or other stuff like that, I never once thought, oh, this animation's a bit ropey, or they're reusing animation cells or whatever. It looked great, and in particular that scene where
effects quite a bit.
Yeah, the scene where Storm flew up. You see her for the first time, and she flies up, goes over the camera follows her up and back down. Absolutely brilliant. You were saying about sound effects there. I did notice that actually all the Juggernaut sound effects were reused. It was the Hulk from the Hulk cartoon that was running at the same time as this.
Yeah, every time Firestar sticks her arms out, for a magical transformation, that is from He-Man or She-Ra or something, but...
Actually, yeah, I noticed that as well. And there are actually quite a few Star Wars sound effects in this as well.
Huh.
Yeah, for some reason, Nightcrawler doesn't bamf. That bugged me.
Yeah. So...
That's sort of a...
back at the buffet, for some reason, Storm and Wolverine, two much more interesting characters than Firestar, seem desperate to find out what her story is. So it's like, what's your story? How did you come to have these amazing powers? It's like, well, I'm a mutant.
All Wolverine says is, "Here's another possible dead redhead in my life."
Okay, so it's like, tell us your story. So it's a flashback to Firestar's childhood. And she starts to say, my childhood wasn't easy, not because of anti-mutant prejudice or anything like that, but because she was bullied by another child, a child named Bonnie. Now, Bonnie's a real bitch, to put it bluntly. Sample quote from Bonnie, "You're too poor to play with me." And, and do you know what? In Bonnie's defense, Firestar's family were exceptionally poor. It cuts
like Kenny McCormick poor. Like.
Yeah, it says, it cuts to the apartment the Firestar is living in with their single father, and I thought to myself, that's a real shithole.
Well, it doesn't tell you the part that they're only living there because she's burned down the last 4 houses.
Yeah, and. It's and it was looking at it going, oh, that's a real shithole. And then the first line of dialogue that Firestar's father is never mind how poor we are, Angelica.
Never mind how poor we are, my little angel. Try to do the right thing whenever you can, and you'll be a better person.
I'll try, Daddy.
If you always do the right thing, but blah blah blah, something responsibility, but blah blah blah, a great powder, like some sort of pound shop Spiderman origin thing. Okay, so they are living in a shit house, and in fairness, Bonnie does ostracize Angelica Firestar, but only because she keeps melting all her fucking toys, which is a fair point. She actually melts her dollhouse and all her dolls, and this shit duck doll that she gives her, and it's all going up in flames and melting. And the best thing that Bonnie, the brain trust, can come up with this idea is go, "You're a jinx, Angelica," and that
haunted her for the rest of her life.
Well,
that's her haunting origin story.
Well, there's
Wolverine stab her on the spot.
Yeah, it's much worse than that, because she realized that after this she thought, oh, I realized I could do stuff, so she practiced with her powers all the time. From perhaps the most mundane application of power I've ever seen, she learned how to successfully make a cup of coffee without using a kettle. That was the height of her superheroic aspirations.
Yeah, and she's using instant coffee, so her family's poor.
So she's basically the hotness from No Heroics.
Yeah, effectively, yeah. And it goes on like just stupid. They're like camping in the woods, and Bonnie comes over. They're trying to light a fire, and Bonnie comes over and throws water on her fire. And I'm thinking, you fucking bitch, man! Why are you gonna be like that? So,
she's blonde and she has pigtails. That's how that works.
Yeah, it was the 1980s and it was a cartoon. So it comes to prom night, and it was the one time that Firestar lost control of her powers.
So whoa! So she's Carrie.
Yeah, that's it. It's like it goes further than this, because the Carrie thing comes back later as well, and you'll see that. Actually, Carrie must have just been in the cinema at this very time, because it's like she's at the prom, and Bonnie throws a drink on her, and she's like, fucking Bonnie, and like her drink that she's holding evaporates and steam sets off the sprinklers, and the prom's ruined. And then Carrie would have been a very different film if that's what the prom's ruined. They would just go home and dry out. So she figures out one day, whenever Bonnie throws her book report away, that she can fly. that's how she finds out she can fly. She's chasing a book report. It cuts to one day later. She's walking past her father, who's working on a building site, because they're poor. Her father, by the way, who's dressed exactly like Sparkplug Wiki for some reason. So she's
the illegitimate child of Sparkplug Wiki that he was keeping in a secret apartment because he didn't want his actual family to know he'd had a mutant kid. I'm just trying to write a far more because seriously, I'm listening to the Origin story and it is paining me. I mean, did Stan Lee just not care at this point?
Well, it's even worse than that because I worked it out. Right, it's a 25-minute cartoon, and I have it written down here that the Origin story ends at the 20-minute and 33-second mark. And
okay, I'm at 11 minutes and 7 seconds. At the minute.
Yeah. So she saves her father from. She disguises herself with a welder's suit, saves her father's life. And another quote here is she said, "It was then that I could do important things like saving lives, as opposed to fucking making coffee."
Yeah, and here's another thing as well, right? No wonder they're poor because he's welding all those bits of metal. The bits of metal fall down. You're a shit welder.
Yeah, these are really bad welder. It then cuts.
Ironically, she would have made a far better welder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It then cuts right to back to school, where the dean of admissions, who is played apparently in voice and animation by Orson Welles, who says the following thing.
I donate this solid gold championship cup to the team who wins the game this Saturday.
He says, the winner of Saturday's big game will win this solid gold championship cup. He then says, until Saturday, it is in your care. He locks the solid gold championship cup in what could only be described as a flimsy glass cabinet that he locks with the smallest key you've ever seen, which he then hides for safety in the top drawer. Right? Now,
I think I can tell where this is going.
Right. Back. I've got a Carrie-style plot is written here. Bonnie convinces her boyfriend, I believe his name is Dave. She said, "You distract Angelica by asking her out, and I will steal the key." So Dave is like, "Hey, Angelica, would you like to go to the malt shop with me?" And she's like, "Okay."
Oh my God, Dave, he's like the coolest guy. He's the captain of the football team.
And in the meantime, Bonnie has been in and gotten the key to the cupboard and stolen the cup. Next morning, the dean is like, "The cup is gone. Where could it be? You're the only person who knew where the key was." And she says, "Oh, well, I didn't leave the room except when Dave was asking me out." And the dean says, "Is that true, Dave?" And Dave says, no way. And Dave literally has his fingers crossed behind his back.
No way, Ginger, not touching it.
Yeah, he has his fingers crossed behind his back and is like, "You're suspended, Angelica." Meanwhile, back at the Jones household, and I've written again in all capitals this time, what a fucking shithole. Angelica's father says, well, the only way to solve this problem is to find the thieves. So Firestar launches her amazing plan to catch the thieves, right? For some reason, she marks the top of Bonnie's car. She burns an arrow into the top of the car, right? And then she follows the car using the arrow as a guide. By flying without being seen.
Yeah. And by the way, her powers basically, when she flies, she manifests herself as, and I'm really showing my age here, the Ready Brek kid.
Yes.
Where she just has this massive orange glow about her, and she flies.
Yeah, so she flew without being seen. I don't know why she had to burn an arrow into the top of the car.
Yeah, she could have just burnt the car and made them walk.
Yeah, that would have been.
She could have walked behind them.
And in fact, that probably would have been better what she actually did, right? Because Bonnie and Dave.
We're supposed to be looking at this through rose-tinted glasses or some sort. Cause
no.
It's just the greatest murder of an episode of something we've ever done.
Well, we're just describing what happened. Right, their plan is to hide the cup in her locker during the halftime game. So and at this point I thought, this is like they show the crowd shot of the football game, and it's just really, really well animated. It just, you know, it's not lazy at all. It's individual shots for everything. Even the crowd shots look really good. And what happens is Firestar makes her big debut. She's got her new outfit and everything. And what she does is she flies onto the football field where Bonnie is cheerleading, grabs her, and holds her by the scruff of her neck, shaking her until she admits that she did it.
Admit you did it! Admit you did it!
Yeah, that's what she said. Admit you did it! Admit you did it! And she admits she did it. And then Firestar fucks her into a pile of mud. So she's lying covered in, you know, just like that scene in...
hey, I'm a superhero!
It's like that scene in The Man with Two Brains, you know, into the mud, slime queen! Ah! And then the Dean comes along, the crusty old Dean, and says, you can't just bully someone into saying that they did it. I want proof.
Well, it's a good thing he wasn't on the Birmingham 6 case.
No, it's not.
Otherwise, that would have been a really short movie.
Yeah, well, it would have been shorter than this review anyway. So
Get to the end.
So Firestar gets her proof. What she does is she goes and grabs Dave by the scruff of his neck, fucks him into the mud too with the cup, and says, "There's..."
Evidently having learned nothing from what the Dean just told her.
Yeah, and then the Dean says, these two are expelled. And then it's like, thank you, Firestar. Where has she gone? And immediately, right, like he's like, Firestar is gone. Where could she be? And immediately Angelica Jones walks into shot and's like, hey guys, what's up? And I'm like, yes. You're not going to believe this. Firestar solved the case. Nice.
Firestar!
Firestar!
Yeah. Ooh. Right. So then after the big game, the X-Men show up and say, you should join the X-Men. Now, I made one note here about this, is that Cyclops is shown, do you know whenever wrestlers who are supposed to be quite tall are walking towards the ring and they're shot from a very low angle so that they appear even bigger?
Yep.
Right? Cyclops appears shot from that angle, looking like he has been injecting a combination of steroids and Miracle Grow into his body, gassed beyond belief.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Made one note on this whole episode that I feel is very appropriate now at this time to mention. Everything Cyclops said in this episode was right.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, Cyclops is really good in this, and for once he wasn't some sort of mule and shit for a head or a dull guy. He was actually really good. Now, at this point,
we're living in the 90s. Cyclops hasn't been dull in a really long time. He's a terrorist now.
He's a boring terrorist.
He's a freedom fighter.
Exactly. He's a revolutionary.
Yeah, Cyclops
he was right.
Right. At this point, it must have cut to a commercial break in the United States because for no particular reason, it cuts to Stan Lee, and he says the following, Jem.
Stan Lee in live action or Stan Lee in animated?
It's not an animated. It's just, it cuts to a pile of rubble, and a voiceover of Stan Lee says, "But where's Spidey? Oh yeah, still trapped." Cuts away.
Wait, where was he trapped?
The Juggernaut.
Oh yeah, the Juggernaut thing. Oh right, Jesus, that's the same episode. Yeah, my God,
I know, right? So there's a really nice montage then of Firestar saying, "I trained with the X-Men," and it showed some really cool stuff of like the Danger Room and Magneto and like some Sentinels. It was really.
I do remember Spidey saying he'd love a go at the Danger Room, and Professor Xavier saying, "I can arrange that."
Oh, that's actually the other episode. That's the X-Men Adventure.
Yes, that we're almost certainly not going to talk about in this episode.
Okay. No.
So we are now 20 minutes and 33 seconds into a 25-minute cartoon. For just all of a sudden, Firestar's remembrances are interrupted by the Juggernaut busting through a bank of computers into the room.
So it takes exactly 20 minutes and 33 seconds, as you said, for the Juggernaut to run from New York to Westchester.
Yes.
Well, he didn't stop. I mean, I think that's sort of implied in his name.
Yeah.
And it's like, he comes in and he goes, "I'ma fuck you up, X-Man." And
he doesn't actually say that.
No, he doesn't.
It would be way better if he did.
And
probably, I'm gonna get you, X-Men.
Yeah, there's just I have come to have my revenge. Yeah, something like that there. And Wolverine goes, "Nah, I'm gonna fuck you up, mate. Snickety, snickety, snick." And he and he gets beaten down like immediately. And Cyclops just steps up and goes, "It's alright, boys. I've got this," and just blows him through the wall miles away. I've written here, Cyclops is hardcore. Yep. Storm does some stuff. Wolverine proves himself. Yes, if I've written also here, Wolverine absolutely useless. Ends up with claws stuck in wall. Complete idiot.
Australian idiot.
Yeah, he's going, no, I'm stuck in the wall. Right.
Yeah.
Professor X finally starts saying some stuff now. He sounds constipated.
Yes.
Yeah, extremely constipated. And
before he got his cool hover chair too, he's just got a shit blanket.
yeah, so the X-Men are doing loads of cool stuff. It was really well animated. Lots of cool stuff to sort of fight off the Juggernaut. Iceman makes a wall of ice, and Cyclops
builds a moat,
and Storm shoots him with lightning, and eventually the Juggernaut's because he's unstoppable, and he's coming up, and he makes it to Professor X, where Firestar puts a ring of fire around him, and he goes, "Nah, fuck off," and she's like, "Oh no!" And eventually Spider-Man shows up and saves him. You know, Spider-Man, who they implicitly told, "You may not come to this party that we are having with punch and finger foods."
An Australian Wolverine.
Right? So they're on the roof, and the Juggernaut's climbing up the side of the building, and I'm going to cut the soundbite of this in, where Professor X has the line of the entire show when he says,
Spider-Man, use your skill to remove the Juggernaut's helmet.
"Spider-Man, use your skill to remove the Juggernaut's helmet." Which is the most generic instruction that anyone has ever given. It's like that episode of The Simpsons where he goes, "You, Ken Griffey Jr., hit a home run." I told him to do that. Use your skill to remove the Juggernaut's helmet. Spider-Man does indeed use his skill to remove the Juggernaut's helmet. He is rendered a really terrifying display of mental prowess on the part of Professor Xavier here, as he just forces the Juggernaut to pass out.
Yeah, mind blast him.
Mind blast. Yeah, and it cuts then to a shot of Spider-Man and the X-Men having a drink, and they say, "Here's to the Spider Friends." By the way, the name of the group of Spider-Man, Iceman, and Firestar was the Spider Friends.
Yeah, fuck you. Why are you in charge? You're not even a mutant.
Yeah, well, why do you think they didn't want them to come?
That's why he's in charge, obviously.
Why do we live here? We're part of the X-Men.
Yeah, well, they should have. Yeah, that's why they didn't want them to come to the X-Men party.
Why does Iceman look exactly like that really crap character from Guardians 3000?
Oh,
Hottie McColdblast, whatever his name is.
Crystal.
Martin X.
Martin X, yeah.
Martin X, the Irish Muslim.
Never say never.
And then the last word goes to Stan Lee, who says, "And the Spider Friends and the X-Men have been great friends until this very day. Excelsior!" Now, boys.
Marvel Productions Limited, a Cadence company.
And
that Lee's gone to count his money.
Analysis, gents.
Bobby, you had a wonderful. Before we got on the cast here, we had a little discussion, and Bobby had a wee list of grievances with the episode. Bobby?
Okay, now I unfortunately read I watched the episode that we didn't do.
I don't think it matters, Bobby. Read your grievances.
Okay, I'm gonna read a list of notes now. If you want to watch it it's all on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube without the Stan Lee parts, thankfully, unfortunately. Okay, the X-Men adventure. Okay, I'm just gonna do these in order, right?
Go for it.
There's a doubt in your mind Doc Doom could fuck all of them up.
Yeah, in the opening sequence, there's a really cool bit where it cuts to this crazy looking green and pink background, and then it zooms out, and it's Dr. Doom's eye.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Just quick fire, Bobby. No interruptions.
Okay.
Keep your impressions.
Right. Shit robots are shit. Oh no, the gravity's off. If only she could fucking fly. Professor X is a wanker. Stan Lee is a wanker. Nightcrawler is a wanker. The doorbell is a wanker. Iceman is a wanker. Danger level 7. that mashup of Two-Face and Deathlock isn't looking well. Professor X will be powerless with 2 broken fingers. Sprite looks like she's dressed for an IRA swimsuit calendar. Sweet Hill Street Blues reference. What did Thunderbird just do? This is essentially Scooby-Doo. Kitty's gonna make a big-ass sandwich any second now. If only your biggest fear was killing the Professor. Between the Vibranium Room and Adamantium Room, Xavier's house would make a sweet swingers club. The maze of what now? And the Negro battery unit? That's all I got. Yeah, now, what did Thunderbird just do? Thunderbird is famous for one thing, which is dying. He is not famous for turning into a giant bear.
No, that's his DC ripoff character, remember?
Yeah. Ah, right.
So, nostalgia being ruined here by us analysing this. What did you think? I mean, I haven't watched an episode of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends in a good 20 years.
Yeah,
and
you've got to kind of turn your adult brain off if you're going to watch these things, but in some ways you absolutely can't because you are an adult now.
It was a lot better than I expected.
Oh yeah, like I know you give constant compliments to the animation there, and that is something that really did stand out with this show. It was very well animated. It was, and for a lot of Marvel characters, like certain X-Men characters, it was their first time showing up on television screens.
Well, the thing I remember about Spider-Man: The Amazing Friends at the time is I first saw it in the post-Secret Wars era, and it was really exciting to see like characters that you never saw in cartoons, like Cyclops and Wolverine, just showing up like that. And other episodes,
there were toys made from it as well. Like I remember from a very young age having an Iceman figure from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. That was basically just a see-through plastic figure, but it was, it was Iceman, and it made him one of my favorite things because I could actually have a toy of him.
Yeah.
Rather than a lot earlier than say the toy craze of the mid-90s when the X-Men cartoons hit.
Yeah, I have to say, look, it's not appreciably any worse than
a lot of the cartoons from back then.
Well, and in a lot of ways, it's certainly better than I would rate it way above He-Man and stuff like that. It's way better than any episode of the Transformers. No offense.
No, none taken. I was actually going to mean I will willingly rip the piss out of an episode of Transformers.
I've got some great news for you.
Excelsior.
Yeah, I actually.
If we each have a pick from this era, I'm gonna pick up an Epic Brave Star.
Oh, Sir Jane's gonna have something to say about that.
Yeah, I already know what.
Yeah, here's an idea. How's about I jump on your fucking back for 20 minutes, Marshall? That's my impression of 2020 or 40 Mad Dog 4040 or whatever his name is.
He deliberately missed it out. It's 30-30, and you know it is.
Yeah.
I know.
So,
freaking bot over.
Are we going to be overly harsh in this, or are we saying that it's deserving of its standard?
God, it's terrible, but I mean, you can see at the very least the character of Firestar is a hell of a lot better than a lot of their other cartoons. And I know I'm going back to the 60s for this, but let's be honest, the Invisible Woman, arguably the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four, and her sole input to a lot of those things was, "Oh, Reed, I feel so helpless."
Yeah.
So it's a step forward.
As a character, Firestar has inevitably stood the test of time. I mean, writers now are coming back to her. She's a main character in the Amazing X-Men book, and her costume hasn't changed, and it's actually stayed true to what it is.
She's had a very interesting character arc, because when she was introduced in the mainstream Marvel universe, she was part of the Massachusetts Academy. And then she joined the New Warriors, and she got onto a relationship with Justice. And what I really liked about that
business.
They did something really interesting about it. Was rereading the Initiative recently.
Yeah. And
something I'd forgotten about was when they started going out, Justice and Firestar. Justice was like, I want to save myself. She was like, he was about to go to jail for a couple of years, and she sort of offers herself up, saying, "Do you want a wee bit of before you go?"
The hotness. Do you want a bit of hotness?
Do you want a bit of the hotness? Because the only thing you're going to be getting for the next 2 years is a jailhouse romance. And he said, "No, I want to save myself for you, and I want to get married." and then we'll get down to that. And she's like, oh, good. And then I completely forgot about that. That happened in 1992. And then in 2008, whenever the initiative thing was going on, Justice started going out with Ultra Girl and was like knocking her off, and then fired.
Knocking her off.
Yes, yes. You know, they were having their relations, and Firestar found out, and she lost. There's a really good comic where Justice has to explain to her, yeah, do you know that Ultra Girl? You know, me and her have been having a bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, and she was like, hey, but what happened to, I want to save myself for getting married, and his excuse was, but we were at war. It's like, yeah, okay.
Hasn't changed me.
Yeah, you know, they've done some good stuff with her. You know, they did that, and then she went on to join the Avengers, and she had the sort of cancer thing, and you know,
that's what I'm saying. It's a character that was evidently beloved by people who watch her, and you know, have now become writers themselves and gotten involved with Marvel in such a way that they can use the character and make her. I mean, the character now is a very well represented modern character, as she always was, and I think that it does the series. Should the series hold the nostalgic stature that it does? Yes,
absolutely.
It absolutely should, because it introduced us to a lot of characters for the first time in animated form. For a lot of people, especially ones around my age, it was certainly some of the first times you were ever seeing these characters in anything other than comics. So, yes, for that reason alone, it does hold a very, very strong nostalgic place. Does it hold up as a show if it was released now? Hell no.
Yeah, but I mean, the standards in animation have changed so much in the last. It's like
years.
Yeah, it's just so different. You know, it's unlike a lot of things. I'll say go back and watch it, because it won't damage what you thought of it when you were a kid. Like a lot of
entertaining in a whole bunch of new ways.
Yeah. And that's the point of this. We hope to sort of reintroduce you to some stuff and to enhance it. So if you have enjoyed this exceptionally lengthy rundown of Spider-Man and his amazing friends, let us know, and we will do similar stuff in the future.
Yeah, and remember, we are available for private parties. We will stand behind your sofa as you watch something, screaming in your ear the entire way through.
Yep.
Do we have anything we want to plug?
I'm going to plug a show that I will actually be launching a comic at in March. I'm trying to get as many people out to it as possible. It's called Bella's Steampunk Extravaganza in the Sugar Club in Dublin. Tickets are now on sale, and the main performer on the evening will be Chap Hop superstar Professor Elemental, and Cormac Hughes and I will be releasing an exclusive Professor Elemental comic at the show.
Kieran, have you got anything? Flanagan, have you got anything?
Oh, there we go, that's better. Do I have anything to plug? Yeah, I've got a comic coming out at the end of next week. It's a 3-panel strip that I've had an idea for about 2 years, and I'm finally getting around to publishing it now. It's a Breaking Bad comic in the style of the Beano, and just a year and a half too late.
Oh, my buddy. Where's it coming out? What to do?
I'll just stick it up on the net.
Okay, cool. Excellent.
Okay. I myself, friend of the show, Pete Lurie, Dates, and Oma comic called Terry McHugh, will be performing live in Derry's own Playhouse on the Friday, March the 27th. Now, I'm only going to say this once, but I'm going to be pimping this like crazy for every episode that we do until this is on. It'll be me doing my second attempt at basically a full show. So a good 45-50 minutes of me talking crap and swearing at you.
Is this a different show than Battlestar Metallica?
No, completely different show from Battlestar Metallica.
Good.
Yes.
I have given absolutely no thought to a song to finish up with here.
Oh, I have one. How's about just the theme tune to Game of Thrones, followed by the Hound going, lots of cunts.
Yes.
Hey! You've had your one.
Yeah, and now the Hound's going to have his.
Lots of cunts.
And he'd also take one of those chickens.
All right.
Until next week, words to your mothers, gentlemen.
Peace.
Bye.